Y'all see this smile. Y'all see this smile. Welcome to a live CK podcast here on the Basketball Zone Cowbell Kingdom YouTube channel. Today we're talking 49ers, Raiders, A's, Kings. Someone said no love for the San Francisco Giants. Well, at 26 and 27, they're still in the hunt, but not so much to talk about, besides the fact that they beat the A's and whooped their butts on ESPN 14-2, I believe. Other than that, that's the love that I'm going to show them. So without further ado, let's talk the Oakland A's. We're rooted in Oakland. Champions clinched it yesterday. First time since 2013. As you can see, I'm wearing the Oakland A's jersey. Love these colors. So proud of that team. With so much adversity all year long since the year began, they've had injuries and they clinched it. First time since 2013. And as we all know, the Houston Astros have cheated the past, I don't know how many years, but it's been hard to be an A's fan because you always get that one game, right? That playoff game, and we all know that in one game it's a toss-up. No matter what anybody says, man, that's an awful way to lose and not really make the playoffs after having a great season. To me, that's unacceptable. So if you ask me, would have the A's won in the series? Absolutely. They've been the better team every time they've gotten eliminated. You go back against the Royals, I think that was 2014. That year, I believe it was Royals Giants. Like that would have been the A's versus Giants. No questions about it. The Royals team were not going to beat the A's in the series, and y'all know that. Recently, let's fast forward last year against the Yankees. That's debatable. The Yankees are really good, but in one game, I mean, it's just tough. Like after having such a great season and everything, and you just put everything on the line for one game, that's tough. That's tough. So that's how I feel about that. But they have gone through so much adversity this year, and they're, I believe, the best team in baseball. I believe the A's are the best team in baseball, period. And as they get healthier and as they get ready for the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous. This is their year. Like, if they're going to win, they're going to win this year. The Oakland Raiders. To me, they're still the Oakland Raiders, by the way. First and foremost, just because they reside in Las Vegas does not make them Las Vegas Raiders. To me, in my heart and in the heart of millions of fans from the Raider Nation, will always say the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders! We're excited, man. I am so excited. This year feels different. And I suspected it coming into the season. And now seeing how well they played against such a great team like the Saints, a team that's been a perennial contender the past, I don't know, 5 years, you have to give them props. And if you go back to the year of 2016, which I tweeted out, they beat the Saints when Jack Del Rio was the coach, and they went for two to win the game 35-34, September 11th, 2016. And it feels like that year all over again. It felt like the Raiders were going to be good. Khalil Mack, Derek Carr, Mari Cooper for that team. And then this year they got a beast, and Darren Waller, a beast, and Josh Jacobs. And Derek Carr is playing better. My keys to the game and my predictions yesterday was that I believe Drew Brees would outperform Derek Carr, and that would have been ultimately the reason why the Saints would win 31-28. I was wrong. Derek Carr had a rough start to the game. Rough. He was missing throws. He was missing reads. Too slow to react. He was getting great protection. Josh Jacobs started out the game pretty strong. And for whatever reason, I don't know what John Gruden told him or what he told himself, he calmed down and he played his game and he looked great. Let's call it the way it is. He looked great. In the same sentence, though, I will say that he was bailed out by a couple of throws that weren't very good. But hey, sometimes you need luck on your side. There were times where Waller just saved his ass because he would either throw it inaccurately and Waller just swallows up everything that's close to him is in his vicinity. That's how great Darren Waller is, and what a success story, right? I mean, this dude overcame addiction, drug addiction, and he's gotten a second opportunity here with the Raiders. Congratulations. This guy is a beast. The Raiders have a beast, a superstar in the making, a guy that's going to compete with the George Kittles of the world. With the Kansas City Chiefs guy, which his name I'm slipping on right now. I have no idea why I'm slipping on his name. But God, Kelsey, man. I apologize. I'm referring to Kelsey. Kelsey is such a beast. So, the Kelseys, the Gronks previous to him retiring, I mean, he was arguably the best. George Kittles of the world. Waller is right there. He will be in the conversation, barring injury, because that's how talented he is. And even from a catch, from just a catch and speed perspective, those guys don't compete against this dude's raw talent. I mean, this guy was a wide receiver at Georgia Tech, right? Put on weight. He's now a tight end. I mean, you put him in the slot, you put him out wide. He is a nightmare matchup for any defense. They did not know what to do with him. Derek Carr targeted him 16 times, completed 12 of them. Just such a beast. Josh Jacobs, what a beast. I mean, this dude showed up last year, and this year we understood that he was going to be even better. A year under his belt, watching more tape on how defenses were going to play him. And he's injured, by the way. And he just played so well. I mean, this dude is a beast. So Derek Carr, no excuses. This is a year where he has to prove that he's John Gruden's guy. He has to prove it. And so far, Derek Carr has played super, super, super well. Okay? Super well. In 2 weeks, 521 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 0, very important, 0 interceptions, 73.5 completion percentage, undefeated, and the first time since 2017. Is this sustainable is the question that I posed on Instagram today on Cowbell Kingdom. Some people saying yes, some people saying no, some people saying, well, he needs this excellent offensive line to continue to play well. I agree with that. And the people that say no is the same thing that I saw last night, where I felt like he was bailed out. But sometimes, just like any other good goalkeeper in soccer, you need luck to be good. You got to be lucky to be good sometimes, man. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So far, so good. I really don't know if it's a yes or a no for me, but right now I'm excited. So I'm just going to keep the positive vibes going forward. He has weapons. The rookie Ruggs hasn't really even showed up yet, but the fact that he's out there has really scared teams. And last night, arguably the biggest play of the game, he showed up. He got the penalty for the Raiders to essentially lock the game in, right? And even though he only had 1 catch, that was monster. That was a monster play. The guy, the cornerback held him. That was a right call. I don't care what anybody says. He was gone. I mean, his speed is just special. His speed is special. And who knows if he would have caught that. Some people say, oh, just let him play. But why would you grab him then if you don't just let him play? He's down the field. He has 3 steps ahead of you. Of course you're going to grab his arm. You don't know if it was a true overthrown play. Maybe it was. The fact is you got burned and you didn't want him to catch the ball. So you held him. So that's an automatic pass interference. Make no mistake about it. None. Tomorrow the Sacramento Kings will introduce Monte McNair, new head honcho, basketball decision maker for the Sacramento Kings. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say. I kind of already know what he's going to say. But what will his moves be moving forward? It's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting to see what his philosophy is for this team, what his philosophy is just in general. Will he fit? Will he go with the personnel? Will Luke Walton stay on as the head coach of the Sacramento Kings? These are all questions that need to be answered. I'm predicting that he will stay just because ownership won't want to pay the remaining balance for the next 3 years. That's really the only reason why, honestly. And I can see them, which would be unfortunate if they don't give him the full year to fail or succeed. Cut him midway through the year, have an interim head coach, and then save money that way. When, as I've said over and over and over, if you want to do things right, allow your new GM to bring in his own guy and start fresh. Stop being a laughingstock of the NBA by doing things Vivek's way, by doing things the wrong way. Do things the right way and make the right decision. And the right decision, no disrespect to Luke Walton and the family, is to bring in a new guy for Monte McNair. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Niners all day. Okay. So let's go over the injuries, man. It's tough, right? This past Sunday, Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, out indefinitely. Unfortunately, it takes the breath away from a Niner fan. And I hate seeing that because I don't hate the Niners. Honestly, I don't. I don't really consider them rivals of the Raiders because, they really don't ever play each other. I understand the Bay Area connection and the rivalry there. But reality is, rivals for me is the Chiefs, the Donkeys, and the Chargeless. So that's who I consider the rivals for my Oakland Raiders who reside in Las Vegas. Jimmy Garoppolo, he might play this week. D Ford won't play. He just got diagnosed with being out indefinitely for week 3, which is a smart thing. I would not want him to come back to the same stadium that injured Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, Mozart, and Garoppolo. So keep him out. You still got Sherman out. Kyle Shanahan got fined $100,000 for not wearing his mask properly. What a joke! What a joke! Come on, man. 100 racks. What a joke! Seriously, you're out there in battle trying to coach, and you're out here getting fined because you didn't wear a mask. When you go through all the procedures, all the safety precautions of being tested and all those stuff, and then you get fined. Like, come on, man. That is just ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. Also, they signed Ezekiel Ansah, who was a stud for the Detroit Lions. 1-year deal worth $3 million. Play for the Seahawks. Wasn't very good for the Seahawks, but who knows? Maybe he has a resurrection of a career with the 49ers, which I'm sure a lot of 49ers would love that because, well, they have a great defensive coordinator. If there's anybody that can take out or bring back that part that left him, right? That greatness aspect of his game, that immersed pass rush that he had with the Lions, is the 49ers defensive coordinator. So I think it's a good flip of a coin. It's something that they need, not having all their guys and missing 3 of their top guys on the D-line. So good move for the Niners. Like the move. What will they do at running back this week? They're going to have a lot of inexperienced people playing. But hey, that's part of playing in the NFL and just part of the game of football. You love the game, you love the game, but the game don't love you back. The game don't love you back. That's just what it is, man. That's just what that is. Y'all can also call in. Lines are always open. You guys know that. You guys can also like, share, and subscribe for future content like this, where we talk all sports. Today on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday afternoon in Sacramento, California. But yeah, what will Monte McNair do as a new head honcho of the Sacramento Kings? And as you guys may know, on the last podcast, I talked about how disgruntled I was when Vivek named Joe Dumars as just say his left ear, right? A guy that's going to advise him on things, not just basketball wise, but everything else, which is fine. But what I didn't like is that he doesn't report to Monte McNair when it comes to basketball decisions. That has to change. And right now they're gonna say, "Oh, we love each other, and when we're gonna work together." And we always hear that every press conference. That's just what you do. Let's be honest. But the reality is, when things go south, and they very could well go south, what's gonna happen? Monte McNair is gonna start looking over his shoulder, like, "Oh man, Joe Dumars is telling Vivek yada yada yada," and now you're creating a bad culture, which is what the Kings have had, and what they're known for, league wide, and you're doing it, and you're doing it again. And then no disrespect to Joe Dumars, he's not Jerry West. He's just not. So I get it for someone that's gonna say, "Well, Jerry West, it works in L.A." He's not Jerry West. He's not Jerry West. Sorry, he's not. But tomorrow, questions that we got to ask him: what direction will he take this team? I know some people were asking me, because I put some questions out. And should McNair make it his priority to lock in De'Aaron Fox or make a big trade? He's going to lock in De'Aaron Fox. If he doesn't lock in De'Aaron Fox, it's going to cause, wow, you already know. It's going to cause a lot of problems from a fan base who was hungry to make the playoffs, 14 years and counting. He has to lock in De'Aaron Fox, and I believe he will. I believe he will. I do not think he will trade De'Aaron Fox. I hope he doesn't, because to me that would be a mistake. That would be a huge mistake. Nobody in this draft is better than De'Aaron Fox right now. Nobody. He'd be taking a huge step backwards. Huge step backwards. If you had to pick between the two, would you rather have the Kings win now or rebuild? You serious? Of course I would want the Kings to win now. 14 years of mediocrity? That's not in my DNA as a human being. I like to win. And rebuilding is just another 3 years of maybe making the playoffs to see what you have in 3 years. No thanks. No thanks. You can retool, not rebuild, but retool the roster. I think that's very, very possible. And if Monte is as good as we think he is and as smart as we think he is, it's very possible to retool this roster because they can. And there's talent on this roster that other teams will want at the prices maybe that the Kings currently have. Maybe not, but then that's where you can use your brain and use your creativity, use your resources, your contacts, your relationships, and you go on from there. You go on from there. Will Nick Mullins lead the 49ers to the playoffs? No. No way. Nick Mullins will not lead the 49ers if he would become the guy and say Jimmy got hurt. No way. No way. Talking about the playoffs, though, right? With the exception of the Seahawks in 2014 and the Patriots in 2018, Super Bowl losers rarely return to the game the following season. In fact, it's not unusual for them to return to the playoffs. 2016 Panthers is one team. 2019 Rams, 9-7, Panthers 6-10, are some of the recent examples. So, will Nick Mullins lead the 49ers to the playoffs? No. Especially with Bosa out. No. No way. I don't care how good of a coach Shanahan is. No way. Do you think the Kings reach out to Minnesota and look to trade Buddy for their first draft pick? Yeah, Buddy's not worth the number one pick, and that's my boy. But there's just no way that the Timberwolves would ever give up their number one pick or their number. What is it? Yeah, number one. Yeah, there's just no way. What's your prediction for the Raiders versus Patriots? The Raiders are, I believe, they said 4.5 point underdog come already. Patriots are good, just like this game. Now, obviously, I'm more confident, but I thought the Raiders would lose going into yesterday's game because of the X factor of Drew Brees versus Derek Carr and the inconsistencies. Like Derek Carr, sometimes when he is on and when he's locked in, he is phenomenal. He's top 5 without question. But see, he's not always that way, and that's not a good thing. Like if you expect greatness and success for your organization, you can't have a guy who's so extremely good and so extremely bad, right? From week to week, it just varies. We're going to see who he really is because now he has no excuses. As I've said 1,000 times, you have Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs, and you have a bunch of weapons, young receivers who have speed on the outside and in the slot. So, what do I think? I think it should be a close game. This Raider team is very explosive offensively. Marcus Mariota will not play. And I think Derek Carr is better than Marcus Mariota. I do. So he's not the short-term or long-term solution, and in my opinion. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I don't think he's that guy either. But Derek Carr has a lot to prove, and I hope he's that guy. I'm hoping because I love Derek Carr as a person. I love him. I love him for what he stands for. As a man of God, he is the truth. Like this dude is a competitor. He works hard, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I want it to work out for the Raiders because he is a Raider at heart. So he just needs to be consistent for me to say, man, he's the guy. He's John Gruden's guy. And he hasn't had. Last year wasn't a bad year. It was an above average year for sure. Like it wasn't a bad year by any means, but this year so far he's been playing great, and I hope he keeps it up. So if I had to predict right now, it's tough, man. They're on the road. Man. I'll be conservative and I'll say Patriots, but what I want to see before I make my final prediction is whether or not 3 of our offensive linemen will they play. Incognito got injured during the game. I believe it's his Achilles. He still got Trent out. And what else we got out? Oh, our best linebacker's out. And Nick Cohenhouse. I can't say his last name. But the kid from the Bears who's a stud for the Bears. And, he was a leader already for the defense. The main play caller for the defense. He has a pec issue. I don't know if it's a torn pectoral still or if it's just, obviously it hurts, but will he return in time? Maybe not this week, but the following week, who knows? But they need him. They need him badly to roam and call plays and just be that leader that we know he can be. That's why the Raiders brought him in. Yeah, man, for sure. Like, y'all wilding as hell if y'all think that's going to happen. Y'all really wilding, bro. Real talk, though. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Buddy, for the number one, that's not happening, man. That's just not. Some of the questions that, going back to Monte McNair, what will he do with Marvin Bagley? Will he give up? That's not his guy. That's not his guy. Will he want to give value in return? Who knows? That's interesting. What will he do with Marvin Bagley? That is something to keep your eye on. Like, I would go after OG Anunoby and Norman Powell and see if the Raptors would bite on such a juicy pick in Marvin Bagley because they're a team that I can see get the best out of Marvin Bagley, and maybe we can see the full potential with the Raptors. So that would be like, okay, well, the Kings are getting two really good players who we know what they are. They're not stars, but they're good players. And then you see what the Raptors would be able to do with a guy like Marvin Bagley. I think he'd fit in just greatly, especially with Marc Gasol probably leaving. Ibaka, I believe Ibaka's a free agent. So, and I know they got Boucher there, but I would say Marvin Bagley is a little bit better right now. His issue is staying healthy. That's something that I would consider if I'm Messiah, right? That's definitely something that I would consider and think about. Go back to the drawing board and say, well, he has this insane upside, but can we develop it? Can we extract that out of him for him to apply it on the court? Can we keep him healthy? Do we believe in our coaching staff? Do we believe in our medical staff to bring out the best out of a Marvin Bagley? I wouldn't be surprised. I would bet for them that they would be successful at that because their development has been great the past, say, 5 years. Siakam, Bagley, that's nice, in theory at least. Van Vliet, Lowry, and then you bring in toughness, defensive versatility for the Kings, and a guy like an OG and a Norman Powell. Obviously, something that would make sense salary cap wise as well, and see what they can do. Does it fit? Does it not fit? But these are just some random names that I'm throwing out there. But I would like to see that happen, where I think it's a fair exchange for both teams. Both teams are, in a sense, getting better, and it's going to fit towards what I think they should do is add more defensive versatility, because the way this roster is constructed now, there's a lot of bad defenders on this team, a lot of them, including your best player in De'Aaron Fox. He has too many lapses. With him is he has a potential to be great defensively, but he hasn't really shown that consistently. He's shown flashes of being great defensively. We've all seen it, but he has a lot of mental lapses. And to be the best player and to be the number one guy for a team, you have to bring it on both sides, or at least be just James Harden, right, esque offensively, Luka Doncic esque offensively, and then the defense is subpar, which at that point is okay. But if you're not that type of talent offensively, you have to at least bring it and balance it out defensively, if that makes any sense. What are people saying? Also, a huge shout out to Valley Tire Center. If you guys are looking for an oil change, if you guys are looking for a new set of tires, please support Valley Tire Center, because they support the Cowbell Kingdom platforms all the time, man. Great people. Great people. Someone says, I don't think Buddy could even be traded for a lottery pick, to be honest. Depends on who it is. Depends on what team it is. I think he's worth that because his elite skill is just what everybody wants, right? And that's shooting. Do you think the Niners will make the playoffs? Keep in mind, Jimmy will likely only miss the next game. Just depends, man. Like, their defense, they bank on their phenomenal, great defensive line, and right now you got 3 of your top guys out. So tough to say, honestly. Tough to say. I asked about Minnesota because it was said that rather have a proven player rather than a young player. No. They could go out and shop out and get somebody who, maybe like a Bradley Beal. If that was the case, if they were going to get rid of the number one pick, you have to go after a guy who has that cachet already. Miles Turner is the move to make. See, man, with Miles Turner, bro, I'm not a big fan of Miles Turner. Like I was originally, and when I've watched him the past 2 years and how much he's digressed, and maybe that has something to do with the greatness of Sabonis, but I'm not buying it. I don't think he's that good, and I would not like this team to go get Miles Turner. I think Rashawn Holmes is better. That's just my opinion, though. I think Rashawn Holmes is better than Miles Turner. Like honestly, real talk. I think he's so soft and inconsistent at times. It just scares me. Like if I'm gonna pay a dude, I don't want to pay that guy. Is he better than Willie Cauley-Stein? Sure, absolutely. That's not saying much though. So when someone brings up Miles Turner, that definitely scares me. That scares me, especially on this team. Hoping for the Dan Tolzman scouting with Montes and now hoping for Dan's Tolzman's scouting with Monte's analytics. I don't think the Raptors are moving OG, to be honest. Just saying. You never know. They're losing depth in their front court, and they have so much wing depth as it is that it wouldn't really hurt them that much. But if you could get a guy like an OG for a Bagley, I wouldn't be mad. You know, that's not absurd. It's just not like it's not something outrageous, right? It's not something so lopsided. It's you're banking on Bagley's potential, on his upside, and you as an organization are proven to be a world-class organization in development and scouting. So why not take a risk? You're going to be good regardless because you have a star in Siakam. That could make sense. That could make sense. OG and or Terrence Davis would be great players to pick up or trade for Bagley, in my opinion. Agreed. Can McNair get players to come to Sacramento? Players who are game changers, not the prior moves of old players needing their last big pay contract or their last big payday. The short answer is no. Monte McNair is not going to convince any star to come to Sacramento. Do you have to win games and win games for a long time before that happens? It happened with the Warriors because they were just so good. So KD said, you know what? I'm going to go to Oakland at the time and win a championship. That was also a weak move because he could have gone to any other team and not made this insane super team. But that's a different conversation for a different day because I've punched that story so many times and I'm tired of talking about that. But that was a weak move. But until you win championships and you have an established culture, that's the day a star will want to come to your organization. Until then, no GM, not even the Spurs GM, or whoever you think, Pat Riley in Sacramento, no way would they ever get a star to sign in Sacramento. None. You'd have to trade for one or draft one. And that's where the Kings have to bank on and hope that they get. Ashley says, we should not play free agency game anymore. No one is coming to Sacramento until we can prove we have a winning system. 1,000% agreed. Holmes fits Fox and Buddy's style play better, in my opinion. 1,000%. 1,000%. But I don't like the fact that the Kings are wasting Fox's talents. I'm happy with the changes in the front office. It's not the Kings, but would the Wolves trade Russell and the first round pick for Booker? No. I don't see why. Are you saying the number one pick and Booker? Like the number one pick and deal over Booker? I would think about it. But if I'm the Suns, I finally have something going. Why would I mess that up? You know what I mean? So, no. Short answer is no. We should get rid of everybody except for Holmes and Fox. That's from Ashley. Mio Santiago says Fox isn't a star. Blow it up. Interesting. You don't think he's a star, huh? Well, he's not a star yet, but he's a star in the making. What would we do for Belly? That's gonna be interesting, right? I think the offer that they can either keep him or not is doing. See, I don't know. All my dates are messed up because of how much they're extending so much stuff. But sometime in October or sometime in November, they'll have to decide on what to do with Belly. I think it's coming, or is it coming up? No, yeah, most likely October, but we'll see. What will they do with him? I don't see Belly being on the Kings roster next year. I don't know if they're just gonna let him walk or if they're gonna put him in or include him in a trade, because one way or another, it's gonna be an expiring deal. So we'll see what happens. I feel like playing Fox with the non-spacing big is just repeating the Westbrook Adams dynamic. 1,000% sure, man. That's what I'm saying. Fox is maximized with 4 shooters on the floor and a ton of space, in my opinion. Even a lob threat like a Rashawn Holmes, who has proven to be a lob threat, that's something that's so valuable for a point guard, especially for a point guard who loves to go downhill. So, and then I'm just not that high on Miles Turner. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just not that high on Miles Turner. I just think he's soft. Like, he's just a soft kid. He's a nice kid, but he's just a soft kid, and I just don't see it, man. What do you want to replace Grant Napier as a commentator? No idea. I have no idea. Turner's bubble stats were a really bright spot, but his value is still low. That's why I'm in on him. Okay. Kings easily have the worst commentating team in the league, not even close. Does Corey Joseph get... Oh, and to that question, do they have the worst? No, they don't. I mean, Grant Napier and Doug Christie were top 3. G-Man, who hasn't been on TV in a long time, it was tough, man. The way with the bubble, with the delays and all that matters. So we'll see what happens. I love G-Man. I think he's a phenomenal radio guy. We'll see if he continues doing TV. Does Corey Joseph get traded? He came to Sac and was not very good. We'll soon find out. I would want to trade him for sure. I also don't think having 2 great bigs isn't a bad thing. Miles Rashawn would remind me a lot of Gasol Ibaka on the Raptors. Oof. Nah. Gasol is just a special talent defensively. Obviously, this past bubble, you could tell that age got to him, but Gasol is just a defensive player of the year type guy. So that's unfair. It's unfair to say. Holmes needs to learn how to shoot the threes. He's working on it. He's working on it. How do we fix our team personality? How do we fix our team's personality issue? I feel with Jaeger, people were complaining about him because he was a little harsh. I see an issue with a lot of the Kings players acting like little princesses. I'll say this: this team doesn't have a dog on this team, right? And that's where you have to look at yourself in the mirror, look at your roster if you're Monte McNair, and say, "Who's my dog?" You would think it's Harry Giles, but Harry Giles doesn't play enough to command that type of respect. Not saying that the team doesn't respect him or like him, because they do. But you know what I'm saying? Like that Jimmy Butler type player. Jimmy's not the best player on the team, but he's the leader of the team. He's that dog. He's that jerk. This team has a bunch of nice guys. A bunch of nice guys. And that's a good thing. But if you want to win games, you're going to need that dog, that jerk on this team. And no, don't say it's DeMarcus. No, not DeMarcus Cousins. That guy's not a leader. You need to be a jerk, but a leader. It's tough to find that guy. Buddy and Marvin for Aaron Gordon. That's a no for me. Does Lou get fired after next season if the Kings place in bottom of the 10th? Yes, he will. If they give him the whole year and they're bottom 10, he will get fired. Bays is a beast. He needs to the Kings need to resign him. We'll see. We'll see. I like Bays too, but we'll see. How much would you give Alex Len and Bays more? Oof. So tough. It's just so tough for me. Like on Alex Len in his short amount of games, right? Small sample size, but he was pretty good. I just don't know if it was sustainable throughout a season. And then with Bays, again, he's been bad the past few years, and he resurrected his career with the Kings, which again, is that more of him playing for a contract, or is that him being himself again? Those are questions that the front office needs to ask themselves. So I'm not like 1,000% I'm all in on him, but I'm definitely liking what I see from him, and I loved what I saw from him. But is it sustainable is a question. We'll soon. Like, I wouldn't be mad if they signed him. You know what I mean? But I also wouldn't be mad if they let him go either. So that's just my opinion, though. Like, I wouldn't be irate about it. Oh man, they lost Bays. Like, you know, they have guys like Daquan Jeffries who could replace him, in my opinion. Like, I think Daquan's ready for that type of role. So that's just my opinion, man. Like that's just my opinion. Do you have any coaches in mind for the Kings to potentially sign? Like, if it was up to me, Mike D'Antoni, Nate McMillan, Kenny Atkinson would be my top 3 right now. Adrian Griffin Jr. is one of the best fit for the new head coach, in my opinion. He coached Team USA, knows Nick Nurse's defensive schemes, and has improved every team he has been on as an assistant coach for. Okay, it's definitely someone I should keep my eye on, I guess. Bagley is playing for a max contract next year also, I believe. For his extension, yes. But as of right now, it's just no way. As of right now, there's just no way. He was also, referring back to Coach Griffin, he was also the coach for the MVP Russ and D Rose, which is super appealing with Fox. Also has worked with Rico Hines. Okay. I'll definitely keep my eye on him for sure. But yeah, man, I think we've had a solid conversation. I've covered a lot of base on so many aspects, on so many different teams as well. Looking forward to the Nuggets and Lakers tonight. I'm hoping that the Nuggets can win the game, because if they lose, it's going to be a sweep. It's guaranteed to be a sweep. Like, they're not coming back against the Lakers. So it's a must win for the Nuggets tonight. Must win. That's going to do it with y'all, man. I appreciate y'all's support. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and you listen to this on iTunes as well. We'll love a review on iTunes. You guys can tune in on Spotify as well. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I'll see you guys on the next one.